Now, Pennywise has been largely absent from the first half of this show, but as he begins to show up more and more here in the second half, that can only mean that tragedy, death, and destruction is coming along with him. Tonight, we're taking a look at the 6th episode of Welcome to Derry in the Name of the Father. Stay tuned. Scary movie people, welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. It is still TV week, and following up our review of the latest tape from the Creep tapes, we are keeping things going strong by heading back to my favorite show right now, Welcome to Derry. Now, y'all, I am so excited to keep up this coverage months after the season has ended, especially just because it gives me a chance to keep on enjoying that theme song over and over and over. I swear to God, one of the best theme songs of all time. And regardless of the terrible stuff that's going to go on in the show after this theme song is done, you can't help but have a smile on your face and feel like a good, happy, upbeat mood anytime it starts coming on. It's absolutely in my Spotify playlist right now. I hope it's in yours too. Tell me in the comment section if you've been bumping this one as much as I have now. Now, of course, before we jump on into tonight's episode that we're going to be talking, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit that follow no matter where you are tuning in to catch this review, whether you're watching or listening. Got a lot of great horror content on the channel for you to check out right now. And like I said, it's TV week, so we still got a review that we're going to be dropping for Alien Earth later this week as well too. Hit that follow button, hit subscribe where you're checking this out here. More horror goodness coming your way. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to what you're really here for, and that is to talk some more Welcome to Derry. Again, we are taking a look at episode 6 of the first season, In the Name of the Father. And let's start by focusing on our kids. Now, after the terrible tragedies of what went down in the sewers underneath the house on Neibolt Street, Leroy, who now firmly believes in everything that's going on with Pennywise, forbids Will to return to Derry and his friends, stating that it's too dangerous and it's not his responsibility to put a stop to everything that's going on. After a heated confrontation, this ends up forcing Will back to Derry, where he reunites with his friends, and they all begin to discuss the dagger that Lily found in the sewers. Remember, she found the Pillar Dagger that was dropped by Daniel and doesn't know exactly what it is yet, except it was the only thing that kept her alive from Pennywise devouring her. But unfortunately, between the influence of the dagger and their repeated encounters with Pennywise over the course of this season, a wedge is driven in between the group, specifically between Lily and Ronnie, who are at each other's throats, and the group seems to shatter. Rich and Marge, though, find a way to grow closer as Rich stresses that the group needs to work together if they're going to have any kind of success staying alive and ultimately defeating Pennywise. And Marge gets a chance to embolden herself even more to the Losers Club, as during lunch in the cafeteria, she publicly rebuffs the patty cakes, playing a great joke on them and firmly entrenching herself with the Losers Club. It is a great moment. It is full circle for Marge to really be backing up what she says and having Rich and Lily's back, especially with all the abuse that the patty cakes have been putting into all these kids over the course of this season. Now, Rich, Marge, and Will end up at the black spot looking to convince Ronnie to rejoin the fight. We discover that Charlotte has stashed Ronnie's dad, Hank, at the black spot, which seems to be really the only safe place he can be, because again, you're not going to find any of the white people in Derry kind of going to that spot. The military doesn't really know what they're doing there as well, so it really is the safest place for him to be. But unfortunately, that conversation of Ronnie rejoining the fight falls on deaf ears, as she doesn't want to get separated from her father again after everything that the two of them have been through. For Lily, though, After an incident at the school where Pennywise again brings back that apparition of her dad in the pickle jar, she ends up rushing over to Nurse Kersh's place for some kind of support. Remember, Kersh is really the only adult who Lily has been able to count on for support here in this show. But unfortunately for Lily, doing a little snooping in Nurse Kersh's attic, she finds a photo album that basically reveals that Kersh is actually the daughter of Bob Gray, who is the being that Pennywise basically took over decades and decades ago, and the whole Pennywise look comes directly from Bob Gray's circus or variety or vaudeville act, whatever you want to ultimately call it. We then get some even darker information here that goes along with the flashback we saw of Nurse Kersh working at Juniper Hill at the beginning of this episode. Kersh reveals that she was ultimately the clown known as Periwinkle that did the show with her father, that was in the graveyard that night they tried the seance. Remember, Will saw the clown. That wasn't Pennywise. That was Kersh dressed up as Periwinkle. As well, the same time that Will looked out of his window earlier in the season and thought he saw Pennywise out there, that again was Kersh as well. So Kersh is playing an active role here in terrorizing these kids, just as there's clearly a connection with her believing that Pennywise the clown is her father. Things are not looking good for Lily, and she screams in desperation as she escapes from Kersh's place, which who wouldn't at this point? You have nobody to turn to. You just turned on your friends. You go to the only adult you've been able to trust. Who wouldn't scream out of madness at that point there? But moving over to the adults and continuing things on with Kersh, at the beginning of the episode, we get to see this flashback to where Kersh takes this child to the basement of Juniper Hills, where they encounter Pennywise. This flashback is continued when Lily has confronted Kersh, and the kid is eaten by Pennywise, but then it's revealed even further that as an effort to reunite with her father, an effort to bring him back, thinking that that's not really who her father is, and if she can somehow just bring him out of this trance, that they'll be reunited and everything will be okay. It's revealed that Kersh has been feeding kids to Pennywise for a long time at this point, using that as a way to reconnect and hopefully get her father back in her life. This is just absolutely terrible, because at this point here, there isn't that many adults that are in Derry that actually have shown themselves to be doing the right thing when it comes to dealing with Pennywise, when it comes to helping these kids out. Nothing seems to be going the way that it really should here to ultimately set things right now. And to make matters worse, Kersh makes it abundantly clear that while she might protect Lily from what Pennywise is going to do, that doesn't extend protection to her friends that Kersh is going to need to serve up the Pennywise to again get that reunion with her father. Now, as for Halloran, Leroy, and Charlotte, Halloran finds out that Charlotte has stashed Hank at the black spot, and Leroy confronts him for answers about what went down in those sewers. Now, Halloran is very open about what happened and the fact that Pennywise was able to invade his mind, open his ghost boxes out, and that now he's not really much use to anybody, because if he decides to even pay any slight attention to all these ghosts that are now out there, they'll basically take him. And so he can't really do much to help Leroy, even though he's pleading with them to help protect his son and do his civic duty now. Now, Halloran arrives back at the black spot in a bit of a drunken stupor, not long though after the now fired Chief Bowers informs the local town mob that Hank Grogan is at the black spot too, and all parties converge for what is set to be a tragic confrontation. Not before though our very young knight Rich gets a chance to wow the audience of the black spot, but specifically Will and Marge with his drum skills when the band begins to play, and Lord, that puts a smile on our face ahead of the disaster that is set to come. And there it is, y'all. That is episode 6, In the Name of the Father. Now, again, we've seen both in the It films and over the first half of the season of this show how Pennywise's influence over the town continues to rot so many away at their core. But in the case of Nurse Kersh, it is far more perverse and alarming that it's not really Pennywise's influence that's doing this to her. Like, don't get me wrong. I can understand if you want to argue that, but it's very clear she's coming from a place of desperation. She's coming to serve her own interests. She wants to be reunited with her father, stating she hasn't felt whole since the day that he was taken, and she's willing to do anything, even sacrifice all these children, if that means that she gets her father back. It's heartbreaking. It's shocking. She's the only solace that Lily has had, and now that Lily is broken off with her friends here, this just leaves her completely stranded on an island all by herself. Now, of course, they're going to have to get back together. All of this is going to have to be amended, and these friends are really going to have to band together if they want to save the town, because it really does fall to the kids to do the hard work here. But Lord, between seeing the influence that it has, like on Bowers, which will eventually transfer to, Henry Bowers, that's going to be a danger for the Losers Club, how it happens onto the mob, and even onto Leroy to a certain extent, whether it's Pennywise, whether it's the Pillar Dagger, there are so many terrible influences happening here in this town, and it again goes to the idea of these people need to get the hell out of Derry. And I'm still so interested to see who's ultimately going to make it out and how they will be forever changed, at least until they leave the city limits and they begin to forget about all the tragedies that have occurred here. Which, speaking of, again, the dagger is one of the only weapons that they have to fight Pennywise, but it's very clear looking at Lily that it holds some kind of negative influence. She doesn't want her friends to touch it. She doesn't want them to share it. It's entrusted to her. She's the one that'll take it over. And it is possible that the dagger doesn't affect the tribe that was responsible for setting the pillars up and keeping an eye on Pennywise. But it's important to also point out they weren't really wielding it. They had it locked away in a safe, probably because they knew the influence that this dagger could ultimately have. And besides the fact that we don't see that in the It films, I have to imagine we're going to get to a point to where this dagger is going to have to end up going away, because if it doesn't, who knows how it's ultimately going to affect who's holding it at the end of this season, right? Now, to talk about some of the good here in this episode, y'all, Arian Cartea, who plays Rich, that's my guy right there. He is just killing it on this show. I don't know another child performance that I've seen in the last decade or so that has just been so earnest, that has just been so genuine out of his character Rich here on this show. Like, we get that he's terrified, like his friends are, like everybody is that's encountering Pennywise and everything that comes along with that, but yet and still, he puts on the bravest face out of all of them and just chooses to focus on what he can control, the goodness that he can bring into this world here while they're all facing certain death. Whether that's the case of helping Marge out with her bandage or giving her the eye patch, throwing the airplane as he realized there's more of a connection between the two and feeling a bit embarrassed, a little scared about what he has to say there. Just looking at her and impressing her with the drums as they have their Air Force Coke. Y'all, I love every minute of Rich that we're getting here on this show. And I swear, if Rich got to join the Losers Club in It Chapter 1, they would have gotten things done a lot faster and with a lot less issues between them. And I get what we're watching here with the Losers Club back in this timeline versus the timeline of It Chapter 1 is supposed to show that the same kind of things happen. The time is a wheel. Ka is a wheel, right? And the same things are going to go down, but things could be changed up. Time's just a construct. But man, Rich would fit so well in with the Losers Club of It Chapter 1. It's such a bummer that's not something that we'll ever get a chance to see, just because, again, the timelines are so split up. That would be an absolute dream. It's also nice to see Charlotte becoming more directly involved with the happenings and being forced to believe all these extraordinary things that are happening in Derry. She's gotten bits and pieces here, but she's really seemed like an outlier compared to everybody else, because at this point, almost everybody has had a direct confrontation with Pennywise. And even though she's been around some of those things there, I don't think she's realized exactly what it is she's seeing. So the fact that she's able to take all of that in and just say, you know what? That's happening. That's real. That is what's going on. I love it because somebody has to approach this in Derry like that. She has two eyes. She can see crazy shit is happening here and people are being influenced in ways that they shouldn't. It's about time that somebody really brings that to the light. And the fight that she and Leroy have is long overdue, because while we like Leroy's been a fucking idiot over the course of this show. He hasn't necessarily made decisions that have put other people in danger, but he is hard-headed as hell. And being hard-headed has led to things not being done a lot faster. It led to Polly getting killed in the previous episode. It's led to issues with Will. A lot of the stuff he's doing is not helping anybody out here. So the fact that Charlotte puts that right in his face and basically is gonna force him to confront all of this, that is such a good move, because not only is she coming to grips with it, but she's forcing Leroy to come at things in a completely different way. And this is the push that Leroy's gonna need to get his head out of the ass and actually start doing something helpful here in this show. Y'all, Welcome to Derry is so good. I hope you have been keeping up with me as I've been going through these episodes here, because tragedy is coming. Let's be real about that. There's a lot of dark things that are coming, whether you've read the book, whether you've already watched this season, or whether you've been paying attention to the events that have been escalating here in Derry. We know that shit is about to get real. We've got 2 episodes left here, so I do ask, if you've already seen it, let's not discuss those spoilers in the comment section until we get through those, and then we can all commiserate together, y'all. You know how dark and sad things are really about to get. Y'all, if you haven't seen it, it's gonna get rough. It's going to get extremely rough. And I will be back here in just a couple of weeks when we're back to TV Week to talk the penultimate episode of season 1, The Black Spot. Now, of course, I want to hear from all of you what you thought of this one. Are you loving the budding romance between Rich and Marge? Are you shocked at Rich's drumming skills that he puts on display for everybody? Do you think he's ever going to get that airplane to hit the main street there? What do you think about Leroy just being a complete ass in this episode? And the giant revelation that Kersh has been feeding kids to Pennywise for decades. I want to hear what you all think of that there in the comment section. Let me know. And of course, make sure you are getting subscribed to my channel. Best way to do that, if you're not hitting subscribe or follow, is go to linktr.ee/tscarymovie. That's going to give you access to all of my socials where I'm posting my reviews, my interviews, movies, TV shows, games, books, whatever it is. I don't want y'all to miss out on that at all. And again, for those y'all who just can't get enough horror, that's also going to get you connected to a number of other horror content creators out there that are also putting out some amazing stuff right now. Y'all, I love talking horror with you, but that is it tonight. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to come back when we're talking Alien Earth later this week. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.